Dan is our co-patron, and invite you to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Jim. I'm so pleased to see you all here supporting this event this evening, and I know that you're joined by a network of our supporters across the country who obviously can't be with us tonight. I think I'd just like to pause for a moment and thank Jim, because Jim has fixed it. This has been...
Your letter was only the start of it.
It took me a long time to come up with that one. That is my only gag of the night. Jim has fixed it. I think Jim's been an incredibly effective Shadow Secretary of State for Defence. I think if you look back over a number of generations, the Labour Party has had some seriously impressive Secretaries of State for Defence. Through one of my predecessors in Barnsley, Roy Mason and Dennis Healy, and some people that we've got here in the room with us tonight. I know from my professional experience that doing that job in government is extremely difficult. The pressures, the complexity of it require extremely skilled politicians, and I think we can be proud of some of the people who've done that for our party. But what I now know is that doing it in opposition is a slightly different dynamic. And what people tell me from the armed forces community is they think that Jim's doing a fantastic job, and I think they're right. So I think, Jim, thank you. Extremely proud to have been a member of the Labour Party now nearly for 20 years. And throughout most of that time, I've had a long-standing connection with the armed forces. When I first joined, it was the myth that people took as a fact that the Tories were de facto the party of defence. Instinctively at the time, I didn't think that was right. Throughout my time serving in the army, I knew that it wasn't right, and now I definitely know that it wasn't right. I think that Labour's got a huge amount to be proud of in terms of our record. I don't think we got everything right, but I don't think anybody does. But I think we can look back and be proud of our record in government. I think there are significant challenges ahead. We've got a Conservative government who are making massive cuts to our armed forces, and I know when I talk to people on the doorstep that they are incredibly concerned about that. So I think this is really important. I think it's an incredibly valuable link into the service community. Just for a moment, I'd like to say what a fantastic job that I think they do. I think pretty much everyone here understands and recognises that, and the public do as well. If you look back over previous generations, our armed forces have done the most amazing job for this country, often in the most difficult circumstances. And whilst that's widely recognised, what I think is also incredibly important never to forget is the families who stay behind and support and sustain those on the front line. And I know from my own personal experience that in many respects it's actually more difficult to be the partner looking after two kids at home when your loved ones are serving on the front line. And I think we always need to remember that. So I think Labour Friends of the Forces, it's incredibly important. It's a very valuable link into that service community. There's still a bit of work to do. We've got it set up, but we need to roll it out now. And I think it's great that we've got MPs and individuals who are going to support regionally. I know that this is going to be a great success for the Labour Party, and I'm so grateful for you all coming along to support it tonight, and I really look forward to working with you in the future to get this up and running and providing the valuable service both to the forces community and to our party. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dan, for those words. And I wasn't heckling you behind. Jan Guren was reminding me that you were elected to council a year and a half ago, and we're delighted that you're here this evening. So I hope perhaps the next time you'll come as a candidate for Parliament. But we've got two launches this evening. One is Labour Friends of the Forces, which is open to anyone who's a Labour supporter. You don't have to have been a member of the forces. You don't have to have family in the forces. You just have to have an empathy for both our politics and a commitment to the cause of our forces. And secondly is the official launch of members of the armed forces or veterans of the forces to be able to join the Labour Party for just £1. So I would ask you all, if you can, in whichever networks and friendships and everything else, to see what you can do to raise the awareness and the profile of these two announcements. Because over time we want to see Labour Friends of the Forces, like other affiliated societies, joining the Labour Party, having a say, having votes, having influence in the Labour Party in a really meaningful way over the years. I think if we can set ourselves a target of getting thousands of people to become Labour Friends of the Forces, it'll be worth reckoning with. And the last thing to mention is that tomorrow for the MPs at 12:30 in the PLP office, we are, hold on George, I'm not doing, I don't know how tasteful or distasteful these things are, but these are, this might put you off, these are meant to be pound coins. They're not really. Not chocolate pound coins ready to be sold, but tomorrow in the PLP office at 12:30 there'll be a Labour Party backdrop, and it's raising, I think Dan, you're coming, so some celebrity there. I think you're going to try, George, depending on the trains. But 12:30 for MPs tomorrow for your local newspaper to raise awareness of the Forces for a Pound campaign. That's all we have to say this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming. Have a drink, have more than one drink. Talk to people you don't know, don't talk to the folk you do know, and let's together make sure that Labour Friends of the Forces really does become a really influential organisation in our own party and beyond. Thank you very much.